It up for questions.
Yeah, I'm excited about tonight. It was kind of a get back to basics, get back to the identity of who we are. I think maybe we had been scheming a little too much defensively, and Trent Frazier literally just said, "Coach, I got him. I got him. We don't need to do all the switching. We don't need to do any of this. I got him." And I think Trent set the tone. Io was right there, came over after the Missouri game and sat down with me before practice early and said, we're getting back to it. And when you get that kind of leadership from your two veteran guards, I felt great. And we made everything for Marcus Carr, a very good guard. I think he's one of the top scorers in our league. Very difficult. He ends up with 16, but on 13 shots, 3 of 13. The one thing we did was put him on the line. That's still an area of concern. You hold a team to 25%, and you don't want to let them off the hook by shooting free throws. And again, some of that is our youth and our inexperience, but we've got to continue to emphasize that, clean that up. And then when we can do that, shoot a contested shot, get a defensive rebound, and then run, you see that we can be really explosive there. So great night for Kofi. Got a little comfort at the free throw line, I think, and everybody's made a big deal about it. And he's been very conscientious about that. He's been practicing them, and again, he was comfortable, but he was dominant. Our game plan was going inside to him from the jump, and he was very, very effective, and then did a nice job on the glass as well. So all around, very pleased, and now it's we've had 3 straight road games. It was nice to come back and be at home and obviously get conference win number 1 as we head back out on the road again for a couple more.
Okay, we'll open up for questions. We'll go right down the order. Brad Sturdy, you're up. Matt Stevens on deck. Derek Piper in the hole. Go ahead, Brad.
Coach, last game you said you didn't like Io having 36. You thought that was too many. Didn't want one guy having that many. Kofi has 33 tonight. You feel a little better about that tonight?
I like the way they came. And we asked Io to get us back in a ball game. And when you got the best guard in the country, and you're down, you're going to put the ball in his hands and make decisions. And that was me making the play calls to have our best player try to win a game for us. And yet, the balance tonight, we scored 92 points, and it was the effectiveness of and efficiency. And then it's 21 assists. There was plenty to go around, and it's a really good feeling when you look down and know that your best player and the best guard, was unbelievable at the defensive end and had a night where, they guarded him and he didn't have to score big and we still won. And that's a really comforting thing for me.
Yeah, if with Io, maybe struggling a little bit on offense, shooting the ball, is that maybe the most impressive thing that you're able to score 92 points when he doesn't have his best night offensively?
Yeah, and it's 7 rebounds and it's 5 assists for him, and he just finds other ways to impact the game, and we've got some weapons, and we keep talking to Adam about staying out of foul trouble so you can stay on the floor, so he can go on those runs where he hits 3 or 4 in a row, and we're starting to feel very comfortable with Coleman and what he's doing and what he's capable of. So. It's a great feeling to see and be able to spread the wealth, so to speak.
Okay, Matt Stevens, you're up. Derek Piper on deck. Go ahead, Matt.
Brad, they had 2 points in the paint in the first half. I don't think they got that bucket until there was the first 13 or 14 minutes in. How key was it tonight for you guys to stay in front and just have your bigs affect everything that they wanted to get from 2 point?
Yeah, we had 3 words tonight that we talked about: communicate, walls, and stick. And it was about communicating constantly. And when we talk and it brings energy, we wanted We wanted to have walls where Marcus Card just saw nothing but bodies and walls of us in front of him. And then the other thing was stick and rebound. And, plus 18 on the glass. And I thought there were some that we missed. I'm really ticked about the free throw line blockouts, but yeah, and then we can run when we do that. So all in all, that happens when you make things hard.
Okay, Derek Piper, you're up. Jeremy's on deck. Go ahead, Derek.
Hey, Coach, how would you evaluate the way that Io and Curbelo are playing together on the court at the same time? Seemed like they got a decent amount of minutes there, 14 assists between them, and both guys that can really set up Kofi nicely.
It's a nice combination to have. And again, both can do similar things. And, when you put Trent out there as well, I mean, you've got 3 primary ball handlers that can all go make plays. And we've got 3 point guards. And I've always been a big fan of multiple point guards in a lineup. And, it doesn't have to be Io on the ball every time and we're running an action. We can put Io on a ball and Curbelo. Tonight we wanted to get Io into what we call a lot of high shakes, and we did that. And that took away some of their tags. And so it was it's nice to have that luxury. But, yeah, they're playing great together.
And how nice was it to be in a situation where you can play Coleman 12 minutes, you can get Jake in there just based on the situation and the game score?
As you guys know, we haven't had a schedule that's allowed that since the first 2 games, and just trying to get as many minutes possible. And it gets really hard as you jump into 20 Big Ten games, but that's unusual. It doesn't happen a lot in Big Ten play, but Coleman's had an unbelievable week of practice, dating back to actually before the Missouri game. So he's starting to get it, and I'm starting to trust, and those are all positives.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, Jeremy, you're up. Gavin's on deck. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Hey, Brad, you said you wanted more and more from Kofi. He draws 9 fouls tonight. It felt like he was very active defensively and on the glass. What do you think spurred him that way?
Yeah, I mean, Kofi's got unbelievable pride. And, I mean, he's an unbelievable listener. He's an unbelievable wants to continually grow his game. And we had one word. And if anybody heard it tonight, everybody was saying it on the bench. It's motor. And it was going to chase balls, and it was going to, going to stay active and running the floor and not letting him lapse mentally by constantly talking about and referring to motor, so that he goes all the time. And, it's amazing what happens when you really play hard and the game just kind of finds you, and it found him tonight.
And then after one fast break decision, you had a conversation with Andre, ends up with 9 assists and 2 turnovers. What was the message or teaching moment there?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I want him to understand, he thinks everybody's going to catch every pass that he throws. And that's a great mindset to have. And he is very capable of that. And I thought he threw that one a little too early to Georgie, where he was going to put Georgie in a really bad spot to have to do something with it, and just understand it. If he waits another step or 2, maybe it's a different angle to pass it, but he can't just complete it. He's got to make sure that there's success on the back end of that. And I thought that would have been a tough spot.
Thanks, Brad.
Okay, Gavin, you're up, and then Scott Ritchie on deck. Go ahead, Gavin.
Hey, Brad, early on tonight, we saw Adam hit a couple of shots early in the game, and then it seemed like maybe he forced a few shots or took some shots that weren't necessarily open.
Can you start that question over, Gavin? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Can you hear me, Brad? Okay. Adam started the game pretty well, hit a couple of shots, and then it seemed like maybe he forced some shots, took some shots that were a little less natural and open, and then down the stretch, he hit those 3 threes in a row. What do you think he has to do in terms of shot selection and making sure he's taking shots at the right time and in the right places?
Yeah, and I mean, we ran some more things to him tonight to get him going. And, I think one of the things, and I think all freshmen go through this a little bit, they've always been able to get to the rim. and they've always been able to execute plays and do things in the paint. And that doesn't happen at this level. At a very it becomes very difficult. And one of the things we're trying to get Adam to do is just play off 2 feet, play off a jump stop in the paint. And he's big and strong. He's got a great body. And, he gets himself in trouble a little bit when he goes off 1 foot. And, that's one of the things that, he's not going to jump over everybody. And there's a lot of size and length, and he'll continue to grow in that. We work on that skill every day.
Thanks, Brad.
Okay, Scott Ritchie, you're up, and then Bob Rosenthal on deck.
Hey, Brad, you said Kofi had an inconspicuous 19 at Missouri. So what's 33 and 13 then?
Dominant. Pretty good night. Dominant. And especially when you factor in he's 12 of 15 from the field, and the fouls that he put on people.
I guess to follow up with that, when he gets 2 early ones on Robbins, did this make you maybe double down on going to him because they weren't going to have their 7-foot shot blocker defending him?
Yeah, it didn't matter who was in the game. We were gonna try to establish that, and obviously Robbins impacts that team dramatically on the offensive side. We saw that with his 2 early threes, and yet the one thing that happens in the Big Ten is you don't play all-time offense. You have to go guard somebody at the other end and defend. And we felt like that was a matchup that could be great for us. And tonight Kofi was very, very good. And Robbins is a heck of a player, guys. He's going to have a great year in this league. So tonight Kofi was really good. We were fortunate we picked up a couple early ones on him.
Okay, Bob Rosenthal, and then we'll go Brandon after that.
Coach, in the second half, you're up pretty big, and you stayed with this main rotation of 8 guys until the 4-minute mark. Didn't really see anybody else off the bench. Was that some pushing your starters? Was that intentional? What was the reason for that?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of bodies. Tyler's still not cleared. He's suited. Ben is still not cleared, but suited and goes through warm-ups. So you start looking at, especially at the guard position, we get pretty thin, and I had to leave some guys out there a little longer than I had hoped. But, we basically have 4 frontline guys out there at the end, and, that gets to be tough. Somebody's got to hang in there.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll go Harry Fiegel and then Joey after that. Go ahead, Harry.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win. I asked Trent this earlier. I just want to get your thoughts on it as well. Great teams always find a way to bounce back after a tough loss, and you guys have done that now twice this season, after Baylor and now after Missouri. What do you think it is about this iteration of your team that allows them to come back and get these wins, whereas maybe some of your teams in the past couple of years would not have gotten them?
Experience. They know it's a long year. There's ups and downs. We've played a great schedule. We've been challenged, and it's really the next game mentality. We can't go change the outcome of the game we lost, but all we can do is learn from it. And it's it's like I said and talked about earlier with Trent and with DeMonte, and I played DeMonte a lot tonight, and DeMonte has lived in the training room with a rolled ankle. That thing is swollen and sore, and he wouldn't even think of missing practice. And so I'm when you get those kind of guys, they talked about bouncing back, and Georgie was very, very active today and shoot around talking about it's conference play, and so I'm proud of this, guys. That's leadership that does that.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, and then Joey, and then Matt Stevens. Go ahead, Joey.
Hey, Brad, you said you guys went back to the basics. Can you elaborate on that, and what does that do from a comfort level for some of those guys?
Well, one of the things that we have not been doing very well is guarding the ball. And, we spent a good amount of time just simply guarding the basketball in practice the last 2 days, trying to clean up a few other things that are just the fundamental things. And a lot of it's talking. A lot of it is We did emphasize not fouling. Again, we've got to learn to be aggressive and yet not be unintelligent by reaching and slapping. Again, that's something that, are all fundamental things that one of the biggest challenges we've had this year is we've never had officials in practice because of COVID. And, a year ago, we brought officials in every day or at least 5 or 6 times a week when we practiced. And so they called fouls. And our guys haven't got used to that yet. They haven't heard the whistle and understand what a foul is and what a foul isn't. So, we're going to have some growing pains there. But, again, it was just simply guarding the basketball, communicating, calling our coverages. We seem to be better at it tonight.
And with Kofi, is there anything you see in him when he's playing against somebody who is closer to his size physically? Can he be more aggressive without fear of hearing a whistle? Or, do you see any change in him there?
No, he has seen that a lot. He's dominated small guys. He's dominated big guys. I think the one thing that he's just about seen everything. And it's, as any big, he's reliant upon, guards getting him the ball in the right spot. And I think that we're getting more accustomed to doing that and better at it. And we obviously did it tonight.
Thanks, Brad.
Brad, I wanted to ask you if this defensive change that you made was any kind of similarity to what you did last year in terms of, a drastic change or a drastic kind of thing that you're doing, or is it just a simple thing that you feel like you were doing? And the next question is, how hard is it for a coach at any level to kind of let his guys just figure it out on their own and fix it?
It's not even close to what we did last year. Last year was a whole schematic change and philosophical change. This year was just about getting back to some of the things that are fundamental principles. And maybe, not maybe, we have, and that's on me. We've gotten away. We've been trying to scheme certain actions and be maybe a little too creative, which goes into the second part of your question. Trent Frazier and I would assume would take a lot of pride. They just want to guard their guy, and they take pride in that. And so you listen, you let them play through some things, and you're ready to help them. We had a little different coverage if we would have needed it tonight that we practiced, but this was just about man to man. We're going to guard you, and we're going to work really hard to try to do that and contest shots. And so I hope we continue to grow that and not outthink ourselves sometimes.
Thank you. Okay, thanks, everybody. The date on that game in 1984 was January 5th, 1984. That was the 27-point win against Minnesota to open the Big Ten. So this was the biggest season opening, Big Ten opening win since that game. Thanks, everyone.